Set.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting for Wednesday, March 22nd, 2017. At this time, we ask that you join us for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, while we're all standing, I would like to mention the passing of Susan Terry. Susan Terry was a resident of Assonet. She is the sister of former Selectman Charles Terry and the sister-in-law of Janice Terry, who has served on our regional school committee for many, many years. And I ask now a moment of silence in her memory. Thank you. We extend our condolences to the Terry family.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the minutes of the regular meeting of March 8th be approved.
I second that, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, opposed? The ayes have it. That motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda, approval of the warrants.
Mr. Chairman, I move that warrant 38A-17 in the amount of $76,001.25 payroll, and warrant 38B-17 in the amount of $155,168.44 accounts payable be approved.
I second that, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. That motion carries unanimously. Under correspondence, tonight we have correspondence from concerned citizens regarding recent events.
Okay. I received some correspondence from some concerned residents. My colleagues have reviewed the documents, and I made some extra copies if anyone is interested in reviewing it. So it says, Selectman Brett Zografos, I am writing in regards to the town hall meeting held on March 15th. I was very disappointed to see the behavior and actions of some of our town's representatives, Mr. Dean Cronin and Mrs. Nancy Goulart. The attack that was leveled via anonymous letter from Nancy Goulart despite objections, and the fact that Chairman Cronin allowed the anonymous attack to be read at all and then did nothing to stop it again despite an objection from Mr. Robert Woods, present, is very concerning. Mrs. Goulart needs to be reminded of her earlier stance on anonymous correspondence when anonymous postcards against the debt exclusion were mailed. She wrote January 7th on Facebook, "At least I have clearly stated my opinion and have identified myself." Also from January 7th, 2017 on Facebook. I do not know who "we" refers to, but we should have attended the meetings when the building was planned and discussed. To send an anonymous mailing encouraging voters to defeat the debt exclusion article, in my opinion, reeks of mean, unsubstantiated, incongruent, and undeserved criticism. So it is disingenuous of Mrs. Goulart to now include an anonymous letter, trash is more like it, an unsigned paper left at Old Town Hall, which I'd like to remind everyone is not currently being used, and conveniently found, ? As the reason to disparage the actions and reputations of a current selectman and a candidate. I believe they're referring to Mr. Jack Taylor. No amount of phone calls from concerned citizens can justify the reading of slanderous, inaccurate, anonymous garbage. Sadly, the reading of that letter reveals a lack of moral fiber in the selectman's office. to condemn the anonymous postcard when it is against their agenda, but to validate and read into the public record a piece of garbage when it fits their agenda. It's shocking and disturbing. Mr. Taylor, Mr. Zagrafos, and the town of Dayton deserve better. Sincerely, Kieran Tarver. I'd like to add that the letter is not anonymous. It has been signed by the resident who wished to be identified. So it is part of the public record, so to speak. That's all.
Thank you, Brett. Next, under correspondence, we have a piece of correspondence from the Southeast Regional Planning and Economic Development District regarding funding of the district local technical assistance projects in 2017. Did you have something going with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Back in November, when I attended the signing of the Municipal Modernization Act, the Weed Whacker Bill, at the State House, while we were all standing around talking, waiting for the governor, there was a display on the grand staircase, and it was a map of the state showing communities that have signed on for the Community Compact Program. I didn't know what that was. And they said that the lieutenant governor was around promoting the program. I know that many people on both sides of the aisle had supported the Weed Whacker bill, and that's why we're all there that day to see it signed. So when I got back, I checked into it, and what I found out was that if you are a community that gets approved as a, and I'll say CCC community, you are eligible for assistance, financial assistance, and other kinds of assistance that is funded by other than the community itself. I've been working with Mr. Ferry because we've got two programs coming up for action in town. The first one is the original stormwater application, the permit. We are now in the very last year of that. The MS4 that gets filed this year is the last report under the original permit. That's also the permit that the town got fined under for non-compliance back in 2007. One of the things that we have to do as a best practice to show that we are continuing to try to improve how we operate our stormwater program is we've come up with a best practice of a new method or another attempt at education for the public, so that it's in the many years that have gone by, we've got a whole new generation of children in school, and the school children worked very close with us when I came on board back in 2007, and that helped us get through what we had to get through and not get fined again. So, an education program or a re-education program is one best practice that we're looking at to address our existing stormwater program and the MS4 report, and also what we have to do to file for the new permit. The second best practice we came up with, based on meetings that Mr. Ferry and I have attended at, sponsored by DEP or the Solid Waste Committee in the state, we talked about coming up with a best practice to see what we could do to reduce the contamination of solid waste. And I'm not talking hazardous contamination like radioactive materials or anything. I'm specifically talking about items that came up during the meetings we were in. So we developed these two best practices. When I looked into the Community Compact Program, the local agency that I was referred to was Serpent in Taunton, and I think most of you know about who Serpent is. So I contacted them. I have the name of a person who will work with us. Paperwork was filed. He suggested we come up with a third best practice, which we came up with. It's more related to the accounting municipal finance side. I don't know if we'll actually end up using that one, but certainly the working towards the MS4 and the new permit, and also for reducing contamination of our solid waste, those were readily accepted. We sent in the paperwork to Serpent. Serpent filed the paperwork with the state, the funding agency for CCC, and this is a notification that we just received telling us that the town of Dayton has been awarded $10,000 to help us implement the best practices. The money doesn't actually come to the town of Dayton, it goes to Serpent, because again, that's the agency we have to go through. So we're waiting for the next round of paperwork to come from Serpent, and then they will be working with us to design educational material in one instance for the new stormwater permit and the MS4, and the reducing contamination of hazardous waste. So from an environmental standpoint, we will be submitting best practices in two areas directly related to the environment. And the other thing that we found was that the fact that we have been approved for this funding, and we're working towards that CCC certification, may make us eligible for further grant funding for other types of projects. I received some notification on that, and there will be additional information coming up about workshops to help us develop what we need to develop. But anyhow, this is our first attempt at doing something like this. If you go online and look up the community compact, you'll be able to bring up the map of Massachusetts. And you will notice that in our little section of the state, it's not green. You'll see all the communities that have already been certified. I think the closest one to us is Taunton. But south of Taunton, there's this big area that's white, and hopefully Dayton is going to be one of the communities in there that turns that section of the map green. But anyhow, this is our first attempt at this, so we're feeling very positive about it, and I want to thank Tom Ferry for all the work he's done on this. All the meetings we've gone to.
Great. Announcements for tonight. Trash bags, shops, disposal containers, and recycling stickers are all for sale at the Board of Selectmen's office. Call 508-669-6431 for more information. Burning season is now through May 1st, 2017. Permits may be obtained at the Dayton Fire Station, 300 Main Street, for $10. And we remind you that we only accept checks payable to the town of Dayton. There is a winter parking ban in effect until April 1st. No parking is allowed on any streets during this time. The deadline to submit warrant articles for the annual town meeting is Monday, March 27th, 2017 at 3 p.m. Please complete your town census and return them as soon as possible to the town clerk's office. There are vacancies currently on the Historical Commission, the Cable Commission, and the Open Space Committee. The Dayton Lions Food Bank distribution will be held this Saturday, March 25th, in the lower level of Town Hall. And the hours are 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. There will be a rabies clinic on April 29th from 2 to 3 p.m. at the North Dayton Fire Station. Immunizations at $12, cash only. The town clerk will also be available at that time for dog licensing. The 7th annual Easter egg hunt will be held on Saturday, April 1st at 12 noon behind Town Hall. Please bring your Easter basket and a camera for pictures. This is sponsored by the Dayton Parks and Recreation. The annual town election will be held Saturday, April 8th, 2017 at Dayton Elementary School from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Anawan Pharmacy, located at 224 Winthrop Street, Rehoboth, is now offering free supplies of chewable multivitamins to school-aged children. Call 774-901-2445 for more information, or visit www.anawanpharmacy.com. We have 3 more. Tonight we have an announcement from the Dayton Historical Society regarding an upcoming event. This is a spring paint party hosted by the Dayton Historical Society as a fundraiser. The date, Sunday, March 26th. Time is 2 to 4:30 p.m. The place is the Taunton Yacht Club, located at 2125 Water Street, Dayton, Mass. The cost is $35 each. If you have any questions, please contact Robin at 508-944-9721 or Lisa at 508-441-9893. Again, I'll repeat these contact people if you have any questions or you want to reserve your spot. Robin can be reached at 508-944-9721, and Lisa can be reached at 508-441-9893.
I see that one, please. I just have a question. What is a paint party?
Okay. I feel like last Sunday I would be painting my living room for others.
My husband and I actually got invited to a social event at a friend's home, and that's exactly what we did. They wanted help painting a room. So they provided the food and the beverages and the paint and got the whole thing done in one night.
They're gonna send these people that paid $35 to my house.
Oh, okay, all right.
Someone's gonna they're gonna have a portrait of painting, and someone will tell them how to do it and guide them. It's 2 to 4:30, as just notified by the chairman. It's $35 a person. Tickets are going fast, we don't have too many left, so I urge people to contact Robin at that number. I forget who the other second person was.
Lisa.
That number, but it's painting, they're gonna have it on canvas, they'll have a painting at the end of the day. My daughter's done this many times, she'll be there again. But it's a fun time, I'm like going, I'll be painting.
So if I went to this, would I help paint the picture?
Everybody's gonna get their own canvas.
Oh, okay.
And I believe that may be the picture they're actually gonna paint. First, there was some discussion on that, but the one that's there, maybe the one they're gonna paint that. Almost looks like a Romaine, but I'm not sure.
Cable, I don't know if you can zero in on this.
I've never been to one of these, but I've seen people with no artistic ability come out and they build
Like
paint
Van Gogh.
beautiful. It's really amazing.
It is.
It'll be a fun time.
That's pretty.
Are there numbers on the canvas?
No,
Sold on eBay for $2,000 a piece.
now that's a fundraiser.
Next, under announcements, candidates night will be aired on cable channel 9 daily through Sunday, this coming Sunday, March 25th. The air times will be 3 p.m., 5 p.m., and 9 p.m.
Can I ask a question? Is it on YouTube? Is it going on YouTube?
It will be, correct. Yep.
And the last announcement that I have, the official ballot for the annual town election.
Mr. Chairman.
I think this will be read one more time before the election. The official ballot for the annual town election, April 8, 2017. For the position of selectman for a 3-year seat, the candidates are Dean V. Cronin, Zachary M. Karen, and John P. Taylor. For town moderator, for a term of 1 year, William E. McKeon Jr. Board of Assessors, for 3 years, Pamela J. Waller. Dayton Rehoboth Regional School District Committee is, you can vote for 2, These are 3-year seats each. Eliza M. Kuchar and Janice M. Terry. For the planning board, a 5-year term, Joseph Figueredo. Public library trustee for a seat of 3 years, Ronald J. O'Connor. Parks and Recreation Commissioner, 1 seat for 3 years, Suzanne P. Cody. Sewer Commissioner, 1 seat for 3 years, Carol A. Beauregard. Dayton Housing Authority for 5 years, Annabella Powell. And that's the names you'll see on the ballot for April 8th, 2017.
Mr. Chairman, I got a couple of announcements. One's a personal one. The class of 1961, ancient class of 61, is going to be having its 56th class reunion June 10th and 11th this year. If there are any of my fellow pioneers, please, if you haven't been contacted by the committee yet, please get in touch with me. It'll be informal. It will be a get-together on Saturday, and on Sunday we plan to tour the regional high school. And I will advise anyone that needs assistance getting around. If you need more assistance, please let me know. This is not the high school we went to. This is not the high school that you could zip around easily. So if you need assistance getting around, just let me know and we'll try to accommodate you. The other announcement I want to make, and this will come up later in the meeting tonight, I'm going to make an announcement about first-time home buyers. This is really interesting and it's really important. So please have a paper and pencil handy because you will want to write down some of this information. But this is literally a great deal for anyone who qualifies.
Under old business, review, discuss, and act on the Center Street Sidewalk Project funding approval and the status update.
Thank you.
That's Mr. Ferry.
Mr. Ferry.
He's shaking his head.
I wasn't gonna pay for that tonight. I did everything else.
Well, the announcement is Mr. Ferry's going to pay for this if he doesn't come up and address it at the podium.
Yes, as you know, we submitted for funding for that sidewalk, that's where the state project for the Berkeley Bridge sidewalk ended at the Bristol Aggie. Our part of the deal was to complete the sidewalk to 138. I worked with some local businesses to help us, because this construction of sidewalks is not our forte. But I was able to work with some local businesses and get some good bids, solid numbers. Selectmen is helping with taking the land, and the project's moving forward to a point where we had a solid number to work with, submitted it, and this notice from Mass DOT from District 5 advising us that the project was approved. Hopefully, I mean, we got a little bit more administrative work to do, but we should be able to start the project before June. So, any questions on it?
I actually do have a question for either Selectman Goulart or yourself, Mr. Ferry. I did a little math, so for the permanent easements, how does, I believe the total is like...
Don't say the number. We haven't met with the property owner, so
Yeah,
don't say the number.
Yeah,
Does that
right.
come, in general, does that come out of the Chapter 9, what we received from the state, or does the town have to pay for that?
Could be both.
Okay.
It could be considered both. Those numbers weren't available when I submitted for the project, so we may have enough, we probably will not. Obviously, any money we're using out of any Chapter 90 funds is less miles of asphalt we can use elsewhere in town.
Of course.
So it's better if we have the available funds on the town side to contribute to a project like that to go further.
Just like the bridge projects, when the town is responsible for having plans drawn and for land taking, easements, and legal fees that relate to all of them, and recording at the Registry of Deeds. The number that Mr. Ferry submitted and got approval for, the money has to be upfronted by the town of Dayton. And the reason why I stopped you is because right now, the plans, the appraisals, and another form that we're going to use, right of entry, they've all been submitted to town council so that they can review them. And the next step will be, for those of you who own property on Center Street that we've been communicating with, once we get the word back from council that everything is okay as far as the work that's been done so far, we will set up individual meetings when you can come in and meet with the Board of Selectmen, and Mr. Ferry will be here. You will be given a copy of the appraisal, and you will have the opportunity to review it. We will discuss individually with you at the time what the appraisal is on your property. These are permanent easements, unlike most of the Berkeley, Dayton, and other bridges we've done in town, which means the easements that we are soliciting, that you will be paid for, the property will become the property of the town of Dayton. That's the sidewalk. Obviously, on either side of the sidewalk, there will be some land disturbance, but that will be covered by right of entry, and that the land that's disturbed will be put back into the condition it was. So that means, seed the grass or whatever. I've talked to the town accountant, and we want to get all of this behind us so that construction can start. The only thing I'm waiting for right now is we had actually 2 sets of approvals. All of the real property on Center Street has been appraised. We're set. I'm waiting for a landscaping appraisal from the senior landscapers, students, and their instructor at the Aggie School. And that appraisal is for the property on Center Street that belongs to Farrell Backlund. As you know, it was all landscaped. There were rose bushes and other flowering shrubs. Some of those will be relocated, some of them will be discarded, but we also have to compensate the owner of the property so that when we're finished with the sidewalk, the rest of that area can be landscaped similar to the way it was before the project started. So that's where we are on that. And then once we pay the bills, the town of Dayton pays the bills because you upfront the money. Mr. Ferry will submit those to DOT, and they will look at them, and based on what he's submitted, we can get up to that number, which means you get written approval after the fact, after you pay the bill, and then the accountant will make bookkeeping entries to move the money from Chapter 90 into, if you will, the town accounts. So that's how we have to do it for all of these projects. So that's where we are.
Right, minus administrative expenses.
Right. We know from past work that legal fees, possibly recording fees, and possibly appraisal fees will not be reimbursed. We never know for sure. So, but anyhow, that's where we are with this. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Question?
Yes.
You mentioned asphalt, Mr. Perry, is it going to be asphalt or concrete? Concrete.
No, asphalt aprons for the driveways, though, right?
I mentioned asphalt with, that's what we try to overlay our roads up town-wide. I was referencing every time you tap into the Chapter 90 funds, that's less miles of roads that you couldn't possibly asphalt. That's why I used the word asphalt. But this sidewalk is going to be concrete, granite curves, front and back. There'll be some granite curving in the back for where retaining walls will be, so it'll be aesthetically correct as you drive down the road.
And the other good news I'll just add is that the Dayton Water District looked at the 2 hydrants that are on county property. Third piece of good news, the county is donating all the easements we need like they did for the bridge project, so that's a big help. 1 hydrant has to be relocated, and the Dayton Water District has advised us that they will take care of all of the work and the expense in relocating that hydrant, and they're going to put in a newer kind of hydrant because the ones that are over there, the one being replaced is quite old, but that's also a plus that we don't have to pay for that.
Next on the agenda, new business. Review, discuss, and act to address a complaint from Mr. Timothy Toolin regarding plow drivers. Is Mr. Toolin here? He was invited to attend. I'm going to read this. This is, Dear Selectmen, dated March 14th, 2017. I would like to be placed on the agenda at your next meeting, which is tonight. Some of the individuals who plow our neighborhoods during snowstorms are reckless and are wasting taxpayer money. Winter storm after winter storm over the past 11 years, I have been a resident and I've seen the snowplow drivers tear up lawns, including mine, even when stakes have been placed to indicate where the lawn meets the street. I have a sprinkler system, and while the damage of that is my primary concern, the annual tearing up of my grass and the repair work I have had to do every spring is beyond frustration. I've observed that when my family or I are outside shoveling, the plow drivers are very careful. This afternoon, March 14th, my sons and I were just finishing shoveling when a plow came. This was a contractor in a Mendy's truck. He was very careful and did not get too close to my marked stakes. Not 15 minutes later, a Town of Dayton truck came by just after I had come inside. The street had just been plowed and this driver proceeded to further tear up my lawn. It had previously been torn up during a January storm. As I was undressed, my 18-year-old son went out to confront the driver, who stated, "It's just grass," and proceeded to get in an argument with my son. This attitude, in my opinion, is the problem. Homeowners like myself who take pride in the appearance of their property have to repair the damage every spring. If I didn't take the time to put up stakes, I wouldn't have any reason to complain. The other issue is a driver who drives around streets who have just recently been plowed looking for something to do. I understand that these drivers are paid by the hour. What better way to pad one's wallet than by staying out on the roads after they've been plowed? I have called and spoken to individuals at the Highway Department about my concerns on numerous occasions. I have taken the step of contacting the Board of Selectmen because nothing has changed. I would like the opportunity to address the board regarding my concerns and would appreciate it if I could be placed on the agenda at the next meeting of the board. You may reach me by replying by email or directly at his phone. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sincerely, Timothy Toolin, Massasoit Road, Dayton, Mass. Mr. Ferry, we asked you to, attend tonight if you had some comments to give us about this, or a little more information about this letter.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Ferry? After the roads are plowed, I assume everyone doesn't just go home. They probably continue to lay down, exactly the molasses magnesium mixture. Is that correct? They're not just driving around for the heck of it, correct?
Correct. Mr. Toolin, I agree with Mr. Toolin. He has a gorgeous property. Unfortunately, when he's confronted me in the past, he's confronted me with some other situations in the neighborhood. It's always been a one-way conversation. I can't get 2 cents in. Unfortunately, the relationship's gone downhill. I shouldn't be talking to him at all. It's not going to be beneficial. I'm sorry to put this on this board, but we're going to need this board to be a mediator to resolve this. The last storm, I had to ask the police to go down there, as no one should be confronting anyone. And obviously, you heard his side of the story. He's not here to defend what I would say, so I'm not going to say anything as far as what happened that day. But I asked the police to get involved just to calm everything down so we can continue with the storm. There are some points I agree with Mr. Toolin. But I don't want to sound like he's not an educated person. He's very smart, but he needs to be educated on what we're trying to accomplish there. And if this board is willing, I'd like to do that in that format. And he should be satisfied with what I have to tell him.
Mr. Ferry, would you just tell the general public, if they suffer damage because of plowing or other highway department normal activities, mailboxes, lawns, or whatever, what's the process for notifying you, and what action do you take?
They can contact me during business hours is fine, leave a message, send an email. I believe all the contact information is on the town website. We do police the town later in the spring. We don't do it during the winter. Obviously, winter's not over yet. Unfortunately, we still may plow, so there's no need of fixing plow damage yet. I do get some of them calls as early as the end of December to fix the lawns, but, you know, we're not done plowing, so we have no problem with fixing plow damage, and we are also responsible for any property damage that we do also.
So do the complaints of plow damage come directly to you, Mr. Ferry, or do they come to like, you know,
They come to our office.
It's a joint thing. Karen advises me, I believe, as soon as she gets them.
Do we get that many, Karen?
No, not a whole lot.
So all in all, most people, you know, 98, 99% of people are happy with the job that the highway department does, correct?
We would assume, yes.
Okay.
And there might be one here that's not.
Here's the 1%.
Alex?
I'm mistaken, Mr. Ferry, as far as the plow operation, usually it's a two-man crew who heads down the road where you have the first vehicle or truck hugging the center line, pushing to the left or right, and following is usually a larger truck that's hugging a little closer. Am I not mistaken by that?
You are correct,
Okay, because it
yes.
seems like in that letter, he's kind of mentioning there's another truck. And I know that there's been times where there might not be a lot, but, you know, they're cleaning up and they're coming back. They always have, it seems like there's always that second guy, so just to throw it out there, you know, I just want to.
I know also that when we have really lots of snow, the two plow, the tandem team opens up the road, and after you get all the roads open, because of the depth of the snow, you go back and widen the roads again. I've seen that.
Very
Well, we
possible.
really get lots.
Especially when there's wind involved and there's some drifting, correct.
Right, right. Last year, I can say this, that there was a complaint that came in, and we checked it out, and Mr. Ferry checked it out, but the person wasn't happy. And in the meantime, after the incident, as far as the weather incident, the person insisted that there had been damage and to a mailbox and also to trees, and I went out and checked it myself. The mailbox could not have been damaged by a plow because there was another mailbox right next to it, and both of them should have gotten damaged. And the other complaint was that they came and cut the tree and left it in my yard. Well, that's because my understanding is when there is a heavy windstorm and limbs and trees come down, the first thing you do is get the roads open. And then you go back and you do the town in quadrants, and that's when you pick up the stuff that you've cut just to get it out of the road. Is that correct? So I just want to say that when the Board of Selectmen has gotten calls, we have followed up on it. And I just want people to know, if you feel you have storm damage related to highway work or limbs and trees and all that, just get in touch with Mr. Ferry. The Highway Department's always been very accommodating. Not instant, because obviously you gotta get roads open first, but they always do go out and take care of things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom, Tom, I just had one question to ask. The only thing that perturbs me a little was the confrontation. What caused the confrontation? Because here, the way it's spelled out is obviously the father, being undressed, sent his son out to confront the driver. And the driver wound up in an argument with his son. So how did this initiate?
Again, that, I wasn't there,
Right.
from what I understand.
Because I heard you say you called for a cruiser, you know?
From what I understand, that conversation also was more one way. Our driver was trying to calm him down,
Okay.
and he just heard the things that escalated it, you know, those comments, and that's not the case. My guys are told they don't confront anyone. I mean, it might be rude to just drive away or roll up the window, but we're not confronting no one. No one needs to get hurt. It's, no offense, it's just snow.
I agree.
It brings out the best in a lot of people, it's just snow.
I also don't think the best time to confront a driver is after they've been plowing probably for 24 hours. I would, write a letter or call or to express displeasure with the service.
That particular storm is a daytime storm, and that's when people are more visible and more accessible. That's partly what happened that particular day.
That's,
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion that we table action on Mr. Toolin's request to meet until such time as he gets back to us and says he's available to meet. I mean, we don't, maybe get tied up with something tonight.
Right.
And that goes along with what Mr. Ferry said about meeting. So my motion is to table till we hear from Mr. Toolin.
I'm going to second that, Mr. Chairman.
a motion has been made and seconded. Any other discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
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 The ayes have it. That motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda, review, discuss, and act on a vote to sign the community compact grant paperwork when it comes in.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that the board, and I think it's the chairman, I don't think it's the full board, but that the chairman of the board be authorized to sign the community compact grant paperwork when it arrives. It's expected to come in anytime. And this request, this paperwork will be forwarded, will be sent back to Serpent so that they can take the next step with us.
I'm going to second that, Mr. Chairman.
Again, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. That motion carries unanimously. Next, review, discuss, and act on request by the highway superintendent for a transfer from the reserve fund in order to fund the stormwater budget.
You're on a roll tonight. We never see Mr. Ferry. He's got all sorts of things here.
This is a request to the Board of Selectmen, to whom it may concern, transfer from the reserve fund. I am requesting a transfer from the reserve fund to the stormwater budget. It is needed to start spring cleaning, such as street sweeping and catch basin cleaning. I am requesting a transfer of $27,086.14. Presently, $7,072.54 is the negative balance on the personnel line of the stormwater budget. The remaining $20,013.60 for street sweeping, catch base cleaning for 3 full-time employees for 6 weeks will be needed for the remainder of the fiscal year. Just so that everybody is aware, anytime there's a request for a transfer of money from a reserve fund, this town votes at annual town meeting through the budget hearings that a reserve account maintains $50,000 for emergency and unexpected expenses as they come up. That $50,000, then if a department has a deficit, requests it, it comes to the selectmen first, that we would approve the transfer on the condition that the finance committee votes in favor of it. Finance committee has to vote and approve it before the transfer can be made. So with that said, do I have a motion?
Yes.
I second that, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
I do have one question, Mr. Ferry.
Yes, I have several other items on the agenda, this being one of them. They probably would have been resolved at the department head meeting that we did not have. That's why we're taking up your
No,
time
that's
tonight.
right, no, you still need approval from this board.
For reserve transfer, I'm not sure, but it'd be great that you guys can help guide us on this, yes. The $7,072.54 is not gonna be needed. That was an accountant error, both me and the accountant. It was taken out of the highway budget. I mean, taken out of the stormwater budget, it should have been taken out of the highway budget. As you know, the stormwater budget this year is the first year that we are using it, so we're still, so it's, that 20,000 is, that's for the actual sweeping and basin cleaning.
So is the amount you want transferred $20,013.60?
Yes,
Okay, so
that's what the motion should be.
that motion to approve, insert the dollar amount of $20,013.60.
And I second that.
Okay, we have that motion to amend the amount to $20,013.60 for the transfer. That motion has been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. That motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Ferry, I probably should have just asked, and I do apologize. Stormwater budget, or Selectman Goulart, whoever is more familiar with it, is that like a separate fund just for stormwater-related issues?
Correct.
Okay.
That's one of the new guidelines that the state required.
Okay.
Especially targeting the new permit that we're gonna be targeting later this year. And we're ahead of a lot of towns, we already established that, yes.
Do you have an idea of how much should be in that, every year?
Well, this is, in the past years, when the MS4 was being wrapped up, all that street sweeping and manhole cleaning and all that stuff, we have to report costs, he has to report tons of sand and everything. We did best estimates in the past, so for FY17, Tom and I and the town accountant sat down and came with our best guess of what it was gonna cost. This will be our first year that we will have a stormwater budget with everything properly allocated. So this is our test year, and based on what we're finding, we'll be able to adjust numbers
Going forward.
and hopefully, better on target. But the other thing is, what we're doing this year is easy to audit, okay? It's all segregated, so.
But it could be sweet with all the laughs.
Sweet. Oh, Tom, I didn't say it.
Karen, this one will have to be redone, okay?
What's that?
Next on the agenda, review, discuss, act, highway superintendent to discuss Pleasant Street Bridge over Muddy Cove Brook.
As you guys review the bridge reports, I'm not sure if you remember that particular report that came out in February. That turns out to be one of our worst bridges in town, but it's not that bad.
Alex, did you hear that?
I like that bridge.
A lot of people don't realize that bridge is, that bridge has a 7-ton limit. Which would exclude fire trucks, ambulance,
Really?
larger highway department
Charlie
trucks.
doesn't like it.
However, after a little bit of investigation, rating was based on concrete decking, and that's not the proper way to rate the bridge. That is in the process of gonna get re-rated, and it takes about 3 to 4 months. We're pretty certain the rating will be going up, which is weird. As a bridge that needs repairs, the rating's should be going up. Don't get too excited about it yet, but until it happens. However, why I'm speaking tonight, some of the deficiencies that were found that are easy to fix, should be easy to fix, would be guardrail treatment. It's not a sufficient guardrail. It's too low, for number one. The spaces between the upright poles are too far apart, and also allows traffic to hit the cement abutment of the bridge, the cement railing, which a guardrail should hold you away from. And the biggest problem we have is turning onto Muddy Cove. There's nothing to stop you from going in the river. That's something that concerned me. I contacted one of our vendors that does our guardrails. I wanted to get a project together to get an article on our meeting coming up, to at least do the guardrail treatment and then consider other repairs for the bridge. They did that to the point, coming up to the dollar value, and they stepped back. They asked me to contact District 5 again to see exactly what they wanted, because it's an unorthodox situation that's there. We need, long and short of things, between that and the bridge repairs that's needed, we need to acquire a structural engineer to come up with a scope of work, both for the guardrail and the minor repairs that are underneath the bridge. I contacted GZA. I sent them the bridge report information and whatnot to get a roundabout number, because they do have structural engineers. Both Matt Crucial and Peter Williams will probably do most of the work and send it through their structural engineer if this board chooses to go that route. I believe that would still be part of consultations as far as the procurement stuff, but that's what I'm bringing it up for tonight, to get, so I'm not the lone wolf here. How would you like to proceed? I need that structural engineer. And also, is this something to entertain to get on the warrant?
Wait a minute, do you need money now for the structural engineer, and you need money on the warrant for work that has to be done in the new fiscal year?
Correct. I mean, again, this stuff could tap into the Chapter 90, and we just discussed what would happen if you do that.
Okay,
To answer your question, I don't have the dollar value yet. I would assume within a week, week and a half, I should have a solid number on per hour anyways.
okay, so,
27th is the deadline, but you could put a placeholder on.
yeah, Karen, would you drop a note in that folder, that check about the Pleasant Street Bridge over at Muddy Cove, just so we can ask the question. If you can get a number, an estimate on what your engineering cost would be, we can look at professional and technical and see what we've got in there.
Oh, to get the ball rolling, yes.
So, we might be able to get if we got enough, we might be able to get the engineering study done in this year's budget. And once you know that, and if they can get you the information you need, then we'll have a number to put on the warrant for the new fiscal year.
Right.
Okay. Tom, is there any way we're gonna get any money out of the state for this? Not Chapter 90, but I'm thinking bridge money.
That bridge is too big for the small bridge funding that's going on, that's everyone's excited about. That wouldn't count. And I asked him his gut feeling about, should we do anything at all to this bridge, or do you replace it? And he took a good look at it. I spent almost 2 hours on the phone with two gentlemen from District 5. The way that bridge is now, if they had to consider that bridge for replacement through the state and federal monies, it's number 425 on the state list. And that's a fluid list that keeps growing, so it's roughly 5 to 6 years out.
425?
It's-
Out of how many?
and just in District 5.
It only took 50 years to get the bridge.
So that's actually a good thing. That tells you how good the bridge is. But that number is also fluid, because other bridges deteriorate quicker, we may never climb. Some of the immediate repairs is basically just spraying some composites or fiberglass to encase the beams that are underneath. What's saving that bridge and what makes it so strong is the beams are so close together. It's not, most bridges built today are not built. The beams are like 3 feet apart from each other.
What are the beams made out of?
Most of them are reinforced concrete with rebar in them. 2 of the beams still have the I-beams that went underneath the trolley that used to run there. So that's another reason why that bridge is so strong.
Do you know the date on the bridge, or what's the vintage?
1929,
19 what?
29.
29?
32.
No, it's 40, Well, year built was 1914, right.
Wow.
It was rebuilt in 49. The posting was, the weight limit that we have on it was 88.
Trolley
Before,
went over that bridge.
pardon?
Is there
Correct? The
a,
trolley went over that bridge?
Yes,
is
yes,
there a posting down there?
yes.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's in the center of the bridge, I believe.
So I'll make sure the fire chief's aware of it, and the fire trucks are probably the heaviest thing that the town has to go over that. It's another nice thing is to work on any type of work we need to do on that bridge. It's an easy detour.
Well, I was just gonna say, and for the fire trucks to access Pleasant Street south of Muddy Cove Lane, they've got some good options, you know, that aren't roundabout.
The problem I have on Muddy Cove, I said there was no protection. I talked to them about placing Jersey barriers there on the edge for a short term, and there's not even enough relief for impact there either. So it is,
I remember you replaced the fence on the north side of Muddy Cove Lane. It wasn't that long ago, it seems to me. Maybe when I was on the board the last time. When you drive down the lane, you're facing
Right.
the river, the one on the north side there, on the left.
right, that wasn't long ago, that was about 18 years ago. It does get too shallow approaching the bridge though, that it goes into the
Yes,
ground.
yes. The other thing about that bridge is, when you get to the Pleasant Street, you have to keep edging out because the bridge is thick enough and high enough that you have a blind spot at one
Right.
point.
I'm not asking this question as like a, you know, because I don't want to do anything, but that bridge is safe, right? Like that, even if
Yes.
nothing was done to repair it, that bridge would be safe for a long time, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Outside of storm damage, that's unforeseen, you know, scouring or something like that.
Thank you.
Even though the Berkeley-Dighton Bridge had that 3-ton limit on it, it was agreed that in an emergency, our trucks would cross. And there was one emergency, and that Dighton had to go to Berkeley. And the fire chief went down across the bridge first and made sure all the traffic was stopped, because it was the old bridge, not the temporary, the old rickety one. And then, very slowly, the truck came across and went over to Berkeley to do what it had to. But then when they returned through the weir. But that was an arrangement that Berkeley and Dighton agreed to, and they would accept the liability. Thank goodness we never had an incident,
Absolutely.
a liability, but we did have a fire, so that worked out okay. Tom, the good thing is, there's not a lot of land taking down there if they have to replace that bridge.
No. No.
So Tom, you're gonna get us like a rough estimate as soon as you can?
Yes.
You know, put a placeholder, like there's a couple other departments, as far as warrants, articles. You know, they've got a placeholder there, they're just waiting for an exact price, which we still have some time for,
I
for
would say-
money figures, you know?
Right, I would say, let's concentrate on the guardrail treatment.
Yep,
We could keep people on the road
Yep.
ASAP.
okay. All right.
Okay, so I will make a motion to authorize the highway superintendent to get information regarding engineering costs, followed by a cost for the work that needs to be done on the Pleasant Street Bridge at Muddy Cove.
I second that, Mr. Chairman.
A motion has been made and seconded. Is there any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. That motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Ferry done yet?
No,
No. Next will be review, discuss, and act on the status update on complete streets.
My turn?
Yes, sir.
You have the floor.
you're on a roll, Tom.
As you know, we're working with Serpent on the complete streets, and where we are with the whole process is we need to prioritize our sidewalks, both the repairs, upgrades, and additional.
Excuse me.
This list can remain somewhat fluid. We collectively should prioritize the top 5 in the near future. You don't have to do that tonight. I left a copy in your office to review. There's a lot of information there. I'll try to answer questions. But the main thing is we want to get this submitted to District 5 this week if possible. And they're working on the cost estimates too, that by Friday they should be done. And again, that's going to remain fluid. We can pick and choose the projects as we move forward out of that $400,000 that's allocated for our town. That's should be approved as we meet all our deadlines.
Tom, just a question about the 400,000. This is the money that we authorized you to apply for, that was 50,000 for planning and up to 400,000 for
Correct.
the work? Okay, thank you.
Yep. They asked me for the top 5 on that list. I think is fine, except for I'd like to see number 5 and 6 changed. The bicycle signage project throughout the town, I think can wait. I think number 6 is Somerset Ave sidewalk project
Yes.
to repair and extend that one. That one coincides with number 1. So I'd like the 5 and 6 to change. And then, you know, if that happened, then you could take that Somerset Ave one. That's Somerset Ave meaning behind Giorgio's, our part, not Route 138. And then that way there, we can get our pedestrian needs from Main Street, across 138, and safely make it to Giorgio's Plaza. That would be the easiest and safest way, so they're not walking on 138, which does not have sidewalks, and we have no control of when they can be done. And also, the long and short of things, when that happens, we may have more control of the pedestrian needs to cross 138 if we have those things in place, especially the ADA needs. So the list, we met with them twice. There's quite a bit of information there. Utilizing ADA upgrades, trip hazards, all been reviewed. Some of it's just refurbishing sidewalks we have, and some of it is extending it for consideration. Our biggest challenge would be Lincoln Ave. I see it's number 4. They're strongly suggesting, you don't see that written down, that we seek other funds, similar like our TIP funds that we should have access to. That's, Lincoln Ave's a unique situation with that sidewalk over the fieldstone retaining wall with the gas main right underneath the asphalt. Plus, we have pipes going directly in the river, and that's a stormwater problem. There's a lot of bad things there, and Army Corps of Engineer has to get involved. The easiest thing to do in that one is move the sidewalk on the other side of the road, but then you lose the nice walk along the river. So
Is it because of the river that the Army Corps would get involved?
that's a tidal river, yes.
Oh, yes, okay. So would they get involved with the Pleasant Street Bridge when the time comes?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
What do
For
you-
the type of repairs, maybe not, because there shouldn't be a disturbance below the tide. It's probably,
But if the bridge were
Probably
ever
like an
scheduled
RDA.
for replacement,
yes, I don't expect that to happen.
400 projects from now,
I don't expect it to happen. The
while
bridge-
you're superintendent, okay. If you could do 6 projects, how much money do you think it would cost? More than 400,000?
Yes, Spring Street alone is going to be a challenge. Just the intersections, the ramps, each one could be a project of its own. Just look at Warner Boulevard. Safely get the pedestrians over 2 different directions, and that type of width with the speed that's coming off of Warner Boulevard. And also near Summer Street and Spring Street's another issue, and adding the sidewalk on that island. There's no sidewalk there, towards Bow Street.
Yeah.
I mean, that one could be set back with a bench or something. That would be nice. Those type of things. And then the rest of that sidewalk going up to Spring Street, there's the wrong type of berm. It's that slope type berm, there's no pedestrian protection there.
Past the mill, you mean?
Nope, up near the top.
Oh, near Forest?
Near Forest Street, yes.
Oh, okay.
There should be a blunt berm for the pedestrian protection. So. But this is a step that we need to move forward. This board needs to be appraised, since you're the signature people. This is where we are at this point of the project. I'd like to submit this, allow Jed from Serpent to submit this week. The cost estimates are fluid numbers, so we don't have to review them tonight, but those should be ready this week to be submitted also.
But more than 400,000.
Yep.
Tom, if the town were granted the full 400,000, does that mean the town has to spend that much? Does the town have to spend every bit of money that they
Sidewalks are
get?
very expensive because of the engineering.
Mhm.
It's nice to stay with concrete as much as you can. You get more longevity out of it. Just for example, this little project here, the project alone is around 96 grand.
Wow.
That short section's less than 1,000 feet.
And that's with the donated easements from the county and the water district taking care of doing that at their expense. Tom, all of this sidewalk work, because it's repairs of existing sidewalks or improvements of existing sidewalks, there should be no land taking involved, should there be? I mean, I
They
assume-
will be. Like if we graduate to the point where we get to extend the sidewalk on Lincoln Ave to Tremont Street,
We gotta push for that, Brett.
I know we own quite a bit of land. I'm not sure it's enough for they're shooting for a 5-foot sidewalk.
Okay. But
That's a
for
lot.
the existing sidewalks that need improvements, repairs, and all of that, I assume we already own those sidewalks.
Most of them, yes. Yes. Most of them.
Question. They're gonna be ADA compliant, right? By the law?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's where the dollar value is, yes.
Okay, so do we need a vote on this, Tom, to authorize you to file the complete, whatever the next thing is with Complete Streets?
I don't believe so. It's important that the board is appraised. This is more of a
Oh.
report.
All right, okay,
With your permission, I'd like to get this step moved forward.
okay. Okay,
I'll talk to Jed before he actually submits it to see if it's important to switch number 5 and 6 now or wait for our input after the whole list as a whole gets accepted.
okay.
I have a question. In regards to chapter 90 monies, the percentages, it usually go up every year, so the town will receive more money, and what's the usual percentage of increase?
It's based on population and miles. It really doesn't change that much.
MMA is continuing to fight for more Chapter 90
Mm-hmm.
money because everyone is screaming.
We get it, we receive a little over 200,000 a year. For example, a mile of paving is around 100,000, so it doesn't go far. That's why I don't like to give it away on other projects.
Tom, last year, you did a lot of work up near Park Street. What's the status of that? Have you got to do more work there this year?
To prepare it for paving, yes.
To pave the
As far
whole-
as drainage, no.
So the drainage is done?
The drainage is done, and seems to be working well, yes. That, with Bedford Street. The drainage upgrade that's left is off of Summer Street. And that needs to be done before any paving consideration too, because that should be all paved together around those two islands, Chase Street, Summer Street, coming down Prospect, Bedford Street, and Park Street.
Are you going to pave that whole wide area?
I've talked to several contractors without re-engineering it, and that's a huge expense. It's cheaper to just remove the concrete and pave what you have. That is one area that needs to be considered for sidewalks, but it's some time out.
It's got to be the widest road in town.
To add a sidewalk over, because you have plenty of room to do
Right,
it over
right.
existing, you would have to move basins, so that would be
Oh.
problematic too. I believe there's an earthen sidewalk on the southern side right now. That's, well, people are mowing. But we have some serious pedestrian hazards we need to consider ASAP before we get that far.
Okay.
So there's nothing we need, we don't need to vote for you to proceed with this?
It's not my show, it's, you guys signed for it, so
All right, so you just want us to review this and ask any questions, and other than
Yep.
that, you're
Okay.
ready to
it's
go?
gonna get submitted this week unless you need more time.
What date would you like, that by?
Thursday?
Wednesday?
This Wednesday?
Tonight.
Tonight?
If you need more time, speak up. There is some deadlines we need to meet, I believe April 1st, and there's some other things going on at state level around April 1st I don't like, so I want to be ahead of other people,
Yep. Get that money.
yes.
Now, while we still have Mr. Ferry at the podium, we have two carryover items, bulky waste and hazardous waste. And I think you wanted to address bulky waste. And if there's anyone in the audience, we have a
Bulky item?
bulky item curbside pickup list here, and it lists items and costs. And we also have the household hazardous waste list. I've crossed out all the numbers because we don't know what they are, but if anyone wants a copy of the list, we got at least preliminary stuff here. So bulky items. You want to look at this, Tom?
Basically, if it doesn't fit in the town bag.
A bulky item? We don't put bulky items in town bags.
That's what I just said, basically, it does not fit in the town bag,
Oh,
yes.
We need to plan this better.
We had it the last time. In May?
We should plan it with spring
well,
cleaning.
we've been
was
right
the
around
week-
26,
There you go.
27, and
That was the week of,
28.
Memorial Day.
Yes. So, look at a calendar here. 26, 27, 28. End of May works for you, Tom? The Monday, oh, Tom, we used to have a 3-day pickup. Are you gonna have a 5-day bulky pickup?
We would have to, because it's respective to their trash day, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see what we got for dates.
5-day pickup.
Wow.
And it's important to stay with the trash schedule. It helps Karen to selling the
You don't want
We
to
like that.
tags.
We like that.
week.
Well, Memorial Day is here, so this would be, I would think, the week of the 22nd. Tom, look at this. In the past, we did-
First week in June.
26, 27, 28. So if we go with May, the week of the 22nd, because the 29th is Memorial Day.
Right.
So is the 22nd okay, or do you want to go into June? What do you think?
I think the week of the 22nd is the better. Stay away from June. Yes. We've hit it early as April, so.
Okay.
Okay, so
Week of,
I make a motion that we set the week, the week of bulky waste pickup days, beginning
okay.
Monday, May 22nd, through Friday, May 26th.
I'm gonna second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
And 27 would be the snow day.
Right,
If it's a snow day, you're gonna need more than molasses.
right. I have a motion and a second, to have the bulky item pickup the week of May 22nd through the 26th. There'll be a 5-day pickup. And I have a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, that motion carries unanimously. Next is review, discuss, and act on hazardous waste day.
This one says it was May 14th, no, May 17th, 2014. That was, must have been, this list hasn't changed evidently. All right,
We
so,
do have to get prices on this.
Right.
quotes.
so we need some, what do you think about June for the hazardous day?
It's very important to assume you have enough volume to have it.
Right.
Brett, are you getting feedback that people have things and what kind of
Yeah,
things
I
they
was-
have?
I was surprised. They must have heard when you asked the public at the last meeting, whether people wanted it.
Yeah.
I would say over 100 people, indicated they needed it.
Is anybody saying
I-
what kind of stuff they have?
They just responded that,
They just-
that they
they
had
want it.
hazardous things that
I
they
have
could
it.
use.
I've had-
They could use it.
I've had quite a few, not hundreds, but quite a few call me in reference to the hazardous waste day. And it turns out they just had latex paint.
We're not
It's a
taking
very
that.
common misconception. Latex paint cannot come in with hazardous waste day.
Okay.
So the word should get out there, remind people, if you have leftover latex paint, you dry it out and you throw it out.
Regular trash.
Correct. So I bet
I will
you
do that.
it's
I will
the
read
bulk
this,
of it.
If it's okay?
Sure.
So let's set the date first. Are we talking sometime in June now?
I would.
We do it on a weekend, don't we? On a
Yeah, on
Saturday?
a Saturday, yes.
All right, so the Saturdays are 3, 10, 17, 24.
I'd like to note, a lot of other communities do this around Earth Day, and a lot of communities have it on an annual basis. That way there, the people ain't thinking, when are they gonna have it? And really, to think about it, it should be a yearly thing, and it should be a no-brainer. You should know when it is, you should know when Earth Day is, and we should have an event
Vicki,
where we
when's Earth Day?
organize to help clean the streets, like Vicki Bianca has done.
When's
Earth-
Earth Day?
Earth Day is the 22nd.
But, you
so-
know, we all meet at the dump that day to do the Earth Day cleanup, and it would be a good day to deposit any household hazardous items. It's just something that the town should think about doing on an
I know what you're gonna
annual
say.
basis.
It becomes cost effective because when we say we have to get quotes, companies come in and run this whole thing. So to have it on a yearly basis could cost us an arm and a leg, because some of these companies, when they give you the quotes, they also put a minimum. You will pay us this.
Right, how much
And
money-
last year was like $7,000 for a minimum, you know?
The communities that consider the annual pickup, it's usually more than one town. They
Right.
consolidate more than one town together.
Right.
We did discuss it, trying to
Yep.
back up with Freetown once and Berkeley.
Yep.
We explored Rehoboth, and it never panned out. But it is a good thing to consider, and could go either, every other town, every other year also.
That is a good idea.
But you'd have to have an awful lot on it, you know, just within a year. You'd wind up paying their minimums, you know? You're actually losing money.
I think this year too, people wanted it delayed because we told them we had the money in the budget. We asked about a summer day, no response. We asked about a fall day, no response. Well, we don't do it in the winter, so this is our last shot, so,
I think the last one was over 2 years ago.
I thought it was in the fall.
May 17, 2014.
well, that's what this thing says.
Okay,
May
that was the
17th.
last one.
And it was May, so, and we need time to get quotations. Tom Pyatt stopped me the other night and said, I wanted to give you a little heads up about hazardous waste. When I did it, as Mr. Cronin said, there's a minimum, and he got 3 quotations. They ran from $2,000 to $8,000, and one of them didn't have the setup fee in it. And he said to me, make sure the setup fee is in it, because if it's not, it's over and above. I mean, we don't want to pay $10,000 before we get rid of a can of bug spray. But anyhow, Tom, getting back to the date, it was May the 17th, one time. The May Saturdays would be 6, 13, 20, and 27. And actually, 27 is Memorial Day weekend, so I don't think you want that one. How about the 13th? The Saturday, the 13th, that would give us a month and a couple of weeks, 3 weeks to get,
Either day is fine. They usually run the whole thing.
Yep.
yeah. We just gotta
I
do the
believe we have one of my
paperwork.
employees there, just in case he's, move barricades or cones, and they have the backhoe available in case they gotta squash their containers. But for the most part, they do everything else.
So you think May 13th is okay?
That's fine.
I'll make a motion that we establish May 13th, 2017 as the hazardous waste collection day. Time of the morning do we start? Is it 9? 9 to something?
9, it should be 9, yes.
9 to
We have, yeah.
2 p.m.? 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Does that sound okay, everybody? All right, so the motion is May 13th, 2017, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the transfer station.
Which will be open.
Yep.
I second that, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Instead of obviously, I understand the cost-effective argument, so it makes sense not to commit upfront to doing it next year, but perhaps throughout, we could look at the response from this year, maybe gauge, closer to next year, if there will be a need for one, in advance.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, we might be able to get another town. Remember a year, 2 or 3, the 2 Lions clubs got together and took, not hazardous waste, but they took electronics
Yeah.
at the Beckwith School?
Yep.
That was good.
Yep.
You remember that?
Oh, yeah, Lions did that.
Yep.
The 2 Lions clubs, right? That was good.
Became non-cost effective because the TVs are the biggest problem.
Yeah, nobody wants them.
They won't take the TVs. So.
The old ones, yeah.
They actually ship them down to Mexico. That's what they told us at one of the meetings that Tom and I, I'd just like to read this so for the public.
Want to finish the motion, or
Did we vote on it yet? You
Not
said
yet.
it was
seconded.
Okay, okay.
any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the ayes have it, that passes unanimously.
Okay, this is a list of items that are considered hazardous waste. And in bold letters, it says, "No latex paint will be accepted." That means no water-based paint of any kind will be accepted. And the sheet will tell you how to dispose of it as part of your trash. What to bring? Well, what to the transfer station? Oil-based paint, stains and varnishes, wood preservatives, paint, strippers and thinners, solvent adhesives, lighter fluid, aerosol cans. From the yard or grounds, poisons, insecticides, fungicides, chemical fertilizers, weed killers, mothballs, flea control projects. From the house or a building, rubber cement and airplane glue, fiberglass resins, photochemicals, chemistry sets, furniture, floor, and metal polish, oven cleaner, drain and toilet cleaner, spot remover, rug and upholstery cleaner. From hobbies, supplies, art supplies. From the garage. Hobby supplies, art supplies. I assume that's the paints and glues and things you use? Okay, thank you. From the garage, fuels, gasoline, kerosene, motor oil and filters, engine degreaser, brake fluid, carburetor cleaner, transmission fluid, car wax, polishes, driveway sealer. What about that latex driveway sealer? Is that considered hazardous?
Not latex,
Okay, so it would be
it's oil-based.
petroleum-based driveway sealer, not latex. Roofing tar, swimming pool chemicals. Additional fees will apply for the following: propane tanks less than 20 pounds, propane tanks more than 20 pounds, motor oil in a 55-gallon drum, tires. And then it talks about safety tips. Leave the materials in their original containers, tighten caps and lids. Sort and pack separately oil, paint, pesticides, and household cleaners. Pack containers in sturdy upright boxes and pad with newspapers. Never mix chemicals, all in caps. That's things like bleach and ammonia. Pack your car and drive directly to the site. Never smoke while handling hazardous items. What not to bring? Empty containers / trash, commercial or industrial waste, radioactive waste, smoke detectors, infectious and biological waste, propane cylinders, pressurized cylinders, ammunition, fireworks, explosives, fire extinguishers, prescription medicines and syringes, and waste containing PCBs. So again, May 13th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Vicki?
Do they recycle paint anywhere around here? No. Latex paint, I mean, where they put it together and then they have free paint for people to pay for it.
I've seen that though. I think they were doing that in Berkeley for a while.
I was just wondering.
Out here.
The note says, latex paint is not hazardous. Dry out paint with quick dry, kitty litter, or shredded newspapers, and dispose of with your curbside rubbish. Be sure to leave the lids off the cans.
I was like to ask if document could be scanned and put on the Board of Health's website and also posted at Town Hall.
Yep.
Sure.
And you can see this place.
All right, moving right along to the section of the agenda, reports. We have a report from Selectman Goulart regarding the Greater Attleboro / Taunton Home Consortium meeting that you recently attended.
Okay, so for the folks that I asked you to have a pencil and paper ready,
Oh, yes.
we received notification that there is a home in Dayton located at 951 Daytonwood Circle that is being offered for sale. It's a brand-new home in a new development for $192,484.75 with affordable deed restriction recorded at the closing. There are income limits and asset limits, but if you are a first-time home buyer, this is a house just like all the other ones up there for $192,000 and change. And for information on this, you can contact the Housing Assistance Corporation in Hyannis at 508-771-5400, extension 285. But wait, there's more.
What's the size of that house?
3 bedrooms, I believe. 1,500 square foot home, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, with a basement and a garage. Has gas heat, central air, an irrigation system, granite and tile in the bathrooms. Sounds like a great offer for a first-time home buyer. So what I want to make you aware of, I went to the meeting of the Greater Attleboro Taunton Home Consortium, and I've talked to you about this before, because this is the group that has money available for first-time home buyers. And a first-time home buyer, and by the way, this house would qualify, is eligible to receive up to $10,000 to help pay for the down payment and the closing costs. If you are the person who is lucky enough to get this home and meet all the qualifications, you are eligible to apply for that $10,000. This is not double dipping. I thought it would be restricted, but I specifically asked the question. So, we have this information here. If you are interested in following up on the $10,000, whether it's this house or another house that you're going to buy, as long as you are a first-time home buyer, you need to get in touch with Pro Homes. Pro Homes is the organization that would meet with you, counsel you, give you the information you need, review all of the criteria that you submit, and they would be involved with the approval of that $10,000 allotment. Now, the other thing about the $10,000, if you stay in the home 5 years, its repayment is waived. So, I mean, for any person that's looking to buy a home, as I say, if it's this one, and you meet the criteria, you can apply, but also, through Pro Homes, the other $10,000 is available. We approved the budget for the next year. For their program year is not like our fiscal year. So, in 2016, they had a total amount of $580,022.55, total budget. Of that, 10% is for administration. 15% is for the community housing development organizations. The down payment assistance program is $90,000, and we approve that same amount for the upcoming year. Their upcoming year is actually 2017.